Hi friends, this is Arun from James Polytechnic College. I welcome you all for this video, and we are going to discuss in this video about brakes and dynamometers. Okay, brakes and dynamometers. Okay. First, we are going to discuss about brakes. What is the meaning of brakes in mechanical engineering? We can say the brake it is a safety precaution. Okay, safety product. This safety products are maximum nowadays we are using in three types of brakes only. Maximum, okay, so some types of brake we are using minimally. Air brake, disc brake and drum brake. This three types of brakes we are using maximum. Okay, so we are going to see the brakes. First of all, how the brakes work. The main function of the brake system is to decelerate or decrease the speed of a vehicle. Okay, always we will tell the brake is used to stop the vehicle. Yeah, sure, it is accepted meaning, accepted the, I accept the suggestion. But one thing, it is not used to stop the vehicle. The main content is it is used to decrease the speed of the vehicle. Okay, so it is used to decrease the speed of the vehicle. At last it will bring the speed of the vehicle to a idle position and then it will stop the vehicle. That is the truth. Okay, by stepping on the brake pedal, when you push the brake pedal, the brake pads compress against the rotor attached to the wheel, which then forces the vehicle to slow down due to friction. Means I am telling simply, when you apply a brake, the brake will go, it will attach with the rotor. The rotor will expand the friction pad. The friction pad will be connected with the drum, and then the drum will be stopped by the friction which is given through the brake material, brake equipment. Okay, so these are the functions of brake. Next, definition of brake. A brake is a mechanical device which inhibits motion. Which inhibits, what is the meaning of inhibits? Mean which will stop the motions. Okay, so inhibits, you can say it will be stop. Uh, it will put a one, it will means if there is any connection, if there is any transfer of motion between one and another, it will cut the motion and it will stop the motion. Okay, that is the meaning of inhibits the motion. A brake is a mechanical device which stops the motion, you can say like that also. Types of brake system in automobile. There are seven types of brake system. First one is mechanical brake, second one is disc brake, and third one is hydraulic brake, fourth one is power assisted brake, fifth one is air brake, electric brake and hand brake system. Mechanical brake. So what is the meaning of mechanical brake? We are using in cycle. Okay, that is called as a mechanical brake. And another you can see at the big truck. Okay, otherwise come to a simple method. In maximum of rear wheel, not in front wheel, in whatever the vehicles, if you take in maximum of vehicles, if it is bike, car, some cars are now four wheel disc brake. So some cars and some till now some trucks, lorry, this are attached with the mechanical brake only. We will say in another meaning it will say it is a drum brake or a drum shoe brake. Okay, so we will say as a maximum as a drum brake. And then second one is disc brake. So already you know, by using a mm, pad, okay, friction pad, by using the friction pad we will stop the vehicle by using the oil. Hydraulic brake, so disc brake and hydraulic brake, which using the, by using the oil, if we see, if the disc is operated, is called as a the hydraulic disc brake. And there is also pneumatic, so by air if you use it, it is called as a pneumatic brake. Power assisted brake, air brake, electric brake, hand brake. Hand brake, you can see at the vehicle, after stopping we'll put the hand brake. There are this I given a here as a one big column for the types of brake. So if you see, you can identify. Okay, and then self-energizing brakes. What is the meaning of this? Brakes can be designed so that Once engaged, the actuating force applied is assisted by the braking torque. This kind of brake is called a self-energizing brake and is useful for braking large loads. Okay, see, what does it mean? Means self-energizing brake. Okay, so self-energizing brake means it will energize itself. It will energize itself. So once engaged, if the actuating force is applied, is assisted by the braking torque. So it will be self-energized. So that is also mentioned here. Self-locking. So automatically, if any problem is happening, automatically the brake will be locked. Okay, it will not move. In some vehicles, if you see till now, there is a child lock, or if you see at washing machine, there is a child. If you see at the semi-automatic machine, there will be on self-lock. If you put at the rotating where you dry the cloth, if you put inside the cloth, and if you close first one and the first door will be closed, then second door will be closed. So if you open the first door, so it will stop automatically. That is called a self lock. So that is regarding the precaution. Self means safety precaution. It is the hand must not go inside. If you put the hand inside, your hand will be, so for that purpose it is self locked. Okay, so these are the self locking. Disc brakes, first one. Okay, so disc brakes are familiar from automotive application where they are used extensively for vehicle wheels. This typically consists of the cast iron disc bolted to the wheel hub. This is sandwiched between two pads actuated by pistons supported in a caliper mounted on the stub shaft. This disc brake will be is attached with two component. One is housing and another one is carrier. Okay, this housing and carrier, what is it? The housing, inside the housing only the piston will be there. The sealing, that sealing seal will be there. Okay, seal will be there. Piston seal will be there, means that piston must not come outside and inside freely. With one piston there will be one seal, so that only will operate, will be give the, it will not allow the piston to move very freely with action, whatever the motions are given regarding that only it can act front and back. So this one type of housing. Another one is carrier. Between the housing and carrier only we will fix the friction pads. So the piston will be operated by the oil, by the housing hole. Okay, so by the thread it will come from top to top, and then it will push the piston. The piston will push the pad, and the pad, both the pad will operate together parallelly, and then it will catch the disc and it will stop, decrease the speed of the vehicle, and then it will stop the vehicle. Next one is drum brakes. So drum brakes apply friction to the external and or internal circumference of a cylinder. A drum brake consists of the brake shoe, which has the friction material bonded to it, and the brake drum. For braking, the shoe is forced against the drum, developing the friction torque. Drum brakes can be divided into two groups depending on whether the brake shoe is external or internal to the drum. A further classification can be made in terms of the length of the brake shoe, short, long, or complete band. Okay. So drum brakes are divided as in two types. One is internal and external. It is dependent on the brake shoe. If the brake shoe is in internal, it is called as internal and drum brakes, and if it is in our external, it is called as a external drum brakes. If you see in a vehicles, in automobile vehicles, maximum of auto vehicles are attached with the external type only. Okay. Now, short and long shoe internal drum brakes. Okay, if the brakes are inside. Short shoe internal brakes are used for centrifugal brakes that engage at a particular critical speed. This internal brakes where it will be both, means in a critical time, means in some brakes there are also in external also and internal also. Internal brakes are are used to stop the small shafts like that. It is used. Okay, so long shoe internal drum brakes are used principally in automotive applications. Drum brakes can be designed to be self-energizing. Once engaged, the friction force increases the normal force non-linearly, increasing the friction torque as in a positive feedback loop, not in a negative. It is a positive feedback loop. Like long shoe internal drum brakes. Most drum brakes use internal shoes that expand against the inner radius of the drum. Okay, so long shoe internal drum brakes are principally used in automotive application. An automotive drum brake typically comprises two brake shoes and a lining supported on a backplate bolted to the axle casing. The shoes are pivoted at one end on anchor pins or abutments fixed onto the backplate. This is the diagram of a long shoe internal drum brakes. So hydraulic cylinder is given, retraction spring. It will only enlarge and dislodge that type. And trailing shoe heel, anchor pins or abutments, brake lining, drum, leading shoe, rotation, and shoe toe. Long shoe internal drum brakes. The brake can be actuated by a double hydraulic piston expander which forces the free ends of the brake apart so that the non-rotating shoes come into frictional contact with the rotating brake drum. A leading and trailing shoe layout consists of a pair of shoes pivoted at a common anchor point. Leading shoe. So the diagram is given here. The loading shoe the frictional drag between the shoe and the drum. The friction will be drag between the shoe and the drum and expand the piston in a forcing the shoe against the drum, and this action is referred to as self-energizing or the self-servo action of the shoe. Okay. Trailing shoe. In this trailing shoe, same way, the trailing shoe is the one whose expanded piston moves in the direction opposite the rotation of the drum. There is one difference between leading shoe. This leading shoe moves in the direction of rotation of the drum. Here, the trailing shoe will move opposite direction of the rotation of the drum. Okay. Long shoe internal drum brakes. The equations developed for external long shoe drum brake are also valid for internal long shoe drum brakes. Band brakes. One of the simplest type of braking device is the band brake. This consists of a flexible metal band lined with a frictional material wrapped partly around a drum. The brake is actuated by pulling the band against the drum. For the clockwise rotation shown, the friction forces increases F1 relative to F2. This is the formula for band brakes. Self-energizing band brakes. Same concept is here also. How we have read self-energizing, it is to energize itself, and when the brake is applied, it will energize itself again. Self-locking, same way. This principle can be used to permit rotation in one direction only, as in host the conveyor applications. And next up, we are going to talk about the dynamometers. This dynamometer are used to measure the torque of the braking, how much torque is needed and how much power is also needed. Function of dynamometer, what purpose it is used for. The dynamometer, or dyno for short, is a device for measuring force, moment of force, or force and power. For example, the power produced by an engine, motor, or other rotating prime mover can be calculated by simultaneously measuring torque and rotational speed. Definition: a dynamometer is a device used for measuring the torque and brake power. Measuring the torque and the brake power required to operate the driven machine. So dynamometer is used for measuring the torque and the brake power, which is used for the operating the driven vehicle. Dynamometers can be broadly classified into two types. One is power absorption dynamometers and power transmission dynamometers. Power absorption dynamometer. This is used to measure and absorb the power output of the engine to which they are coupled. The power absorbed is usually dissipated as heat by some means. This power absorption dynamometer is used for measure and absorb the power. It will measure and absorb the power. There are four types: Prony brake dynamometers, rope brake dynamometers, eddy current dynamometers, and hydraulic dynamometer. Power transmission dynamometers. In power transmission dynamometers, the power is transmitted to the load coupled to the engine after it is indicated on same scale. These are also called torque meters, rope brake dynamometers. Okay, if you see at the diagram, I will explain you the working principle. Okay, if the which you are seeing at the round shape, okay, the big round, which is the top one is spring balance and down is weight. In middle, if you see there is a big circle, this is like a sheave. Okay, sheave, and the sheave will be rotated by the some motor. Okay, so the rope will be surrounded, and one the it will start from top and it will come from bottom and it will be connected to the spring balance one end. The another end will be start from bottom. Okay, again I'm telling, the first rope will be start from top to and it will come from bottom and end in the spring balance, and another one will start from the weight hook, and it is go from the top, it's go from the top and ends in the spring balance. Okay, I will explain you clearly once again. The first, there will be two end in the rope. The first rope will start from the spring balance and will come under the sheave and come from the top and rotates the top, and it end in the weight hook. Okay, at like a alpha, how you put the alpha, like that it will connect it. Okay, so when the motor rotates, the down weight it will calculate the power, and top weight will calculate the torque. This is the working principle of rope meter. Next, eddy current dynamometer. The working principle of eddy current dynamometer is shown in the figure below. It consists of a stator on which are fitted some electromagnets and a rotor disc made of copper or steel and coupled to the output shaft of the engine. When the rotor rotates, eddy currents are produced in the stator due to magnetic flux set up by the passage of field current in the electromagnets. These eddy currents are dissipated in producing heat, so that this type of dynamometers requires some cooling arrangement. This torque is measured exactly as in the other types of absorption dynamometer with the help of a movement arm. The load in internal combustion engine testing is controlled by regulating the current in electromagnet. This is electromagnet diagram. If you see at center, there is also first it will rotate and then it will create a magnetic flux, and through the flux it will get the field. So we can identify the needed power and the braking torque. Hydraulic dynamometer. A hydraulic dynamometer, as shown in the figure below, works in the principle of dissipating the power in fluid friction rather than in dry friction. Okay, so this is the diagram of hydraulic dynamometer. Okay, its principle. How does it work? So first, there are given by the point. Hydraulic dynamo consists of an impeller or inner rotating member coupled to the output shaft of the engine. The impeller in this dynamometer rotates in casing filled with a fluid. Fluid के साथ ये rotate होगा. So the frictional forces generated between the impeller and the fluid are measured by the spring balance fitted on the casing. The output power can be controlled by regulating the sluice gates, which can be moved in and out to partially or wholly obstruct the flow of water between the casing and the impeller. So we have discussed about brakes and dynamometer here. So I have attached some link below, so just go through the links and you can find out the working principle of each and every dynamometers. It will be useful for you. Okay, and don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but be an example for the believers. Speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity. Okay, so keep your young life very carefully and very safely, and live a holy life, and let your life may be an example for the believers in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity. I hope this video will be helpful for you, and I hope that you will get some ideas above from some small ideas. I can't say that you will get the full view. Small ideas you can get about the brakes and the dynamometers. And I want to say one thing, Just be yourself and help others, and don't think yourself always that I am this much only. You are a wonderful person and you are a phenomenal person whom by whom you are created. Okay, so we have seen about the breaks. So always there must be a break in your life where you don't want to go and where God don't want to do it. Okay, and I hope that this will be helpful for you in your life. Thank you and God bless you.